All right, friends, it's T-Man, and we have a brand new video to react to by JasonBlaha. Our good friend, the gym lifting, recruiting, fitness gear slave, JasonBlaha, with the skinny shoulders and arms and flat chest. But anyway, the stubborn guy that thinks he knows or is trying to build muscle skating uphill, doing concentric exercises, whatever, man. Good luck to that. Anyways, we're going to react to this video by JasonBlaha. JasonBlaha says, we do not store carbs as fat, but that doesn't mean you can't get fat overeating them. All right. I can't wait to hear this.
Humans do not store carbohydrates as fat, just not readily. So this is something that creates a lot of confusion when you make...
Well, complex carbohydrates, I believe they store it as energy. Do they store carbohydrates as fat? Well, if you're spiking insulin, you're going to get fat.
This statement. Hey everybody, it's JasonBlaha here. I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today. Please remember to like my video down below. Please remember to subscribe, follow me, and please comment down below and let me know what you think, or just say hello. I'd appreciate it. I would appreciate it a lot. So, onto the topic. When we make this statement, people hear, so you can't get fat by eating too many carbs. Is that what you're saying? That's just not true. And they're right. That wouldn't be true, because that's not what the statement means. What it means is the carbohydrates you eat don't get stored. But if you overeat carbohydrates, you just burn carbohydrates and then you store the fat that you eat. Right? Pretty straightforward.
There are simple carbs and then there's complex carbs. It depends.
Now, that means that people can overeat on a really, really, really low-fat diet and they'll gain less fat, but they'll still gain fat. They'll still gain fat based upon the amount of fat they eat and how efficiently they store it. And different types of fats store more efficiently than others.
I don't know. I eat a lot of fat, animal fat. I'm not getting fat. How come I'm not getting fat, Blaha? I don't know what Blaha's talking about. He's always talking in, artificial terms, fake terms. He can never talk normal, but whatever.
So, again, a little bit of complexity there. Let's talk
It's an abnormal domesticated animal called Blaha.
about the data on this. I'm always interested in this. I'm someone who lost 150 pounds before. I'm 48 now. I mean, I'm 220.
Yeah, I lost 150 pounds or whatever he's talking about. Yeah, bro. You're the one that got there, fat. Is that a squat again? This Blaha squatting again, man? Dude, what's going on here? Jesus.
At the moment here, but I've been 320 pounds when I was younger. I've been a big boy.
He been 320 pounds when he was younger. Okay.
Boy.
He's been a big boy. Yes, he has, hasn't he? I love these pics, man.
I know a little bit about gaining fat.
You've been a big boy. You've been a big fat boy. Now he's a big skinny boy.
Losing fat. So I always find the data on this truly fascinating.
Okay.
So the thing is, when it comes to converting carbohydrates to fat, also known as de novo
I think these squats are kind of funny myself, yeah.
lipogenesis, we had a lot of studies like 20 plus years ago on mice and rats, right? And we know...
What exactly is that? What kind of squat is that? I don't get it, but okay, whatever.
that mice and rats do it fairly readily. Now, it's not an efficient process, meaning some energy is burned. It's not a one-to-one storage, meaning...
Wow. He looks winded, like he's just like completely out of it. It's terrible. He's in terrible shape.
Like you don't just directly store 100 calories of carbohydrates as 100 calories of fat. You lose part of it in the conversion.
I know why he's out of shape. It must be all those carbs he's eating. They're so
process,
healthy.
Even in these animals, right? And we found, man, mice and rats do it really effectively. Here's the thing, when we studied it later in humans, we found that humans don't do it that easily. Like our body tries to avoid de novo lipogenesis. We don't like to make...
Oh, it does it?
Fat. We like to make carbohydrates. We are a carb-burning machine.
We don't like fats. We don't like make fats. We like carbohydrates. We're a carbohydrate burning machine. I don't think so, bro. Let me see. This so-called the science on it. What Blaha says. No, here's one. NCBI. Your mitochondria are what you eat. A high-fat or high sucrose diet eliminates. Okay. And then there's a citing here cited by 48. Extreme diets consisting of either high fat, HF, or high sucrose, HS. I don't know what they mean by high fat. Is that high fat the food or high fat animal fat? I don't know. Anyways, it says here may lead to insulin resistance in skeletal muscle. Yeah, if it leads to that, you're screwed. Let me see what it says here in AI, because the overview is a lot easier. I don't have to keep looking at everything. Mitochondria are better at utilizing animal fats. Oh, he says that they're better at carbohydrates. They love carbohydrates. Well, they don't really like carbohydrates. The sugar, they don't like that. But anyways, they utilize animal fats a lot better for energy production. Now, expanding the sarcoplasm, now complex carbohydrates are most likely better for that. If you want to get, some of that artificial muscle growth, sarcoplasm, expanding it, yeah. That is also an energy source, but if you overeat complex carbohydrates or sugar and you overwhelm the mitochondria, you can damage it. You can mess yourself up. You can weaken yourself and screw yourself. Yeah, that's a bad thing. Anyways, so it prefers animal fats over this so-called carbohydrates, particularly under certain conditions, like when the body is in a state of low carbohydrate availability or when a ketogenic diet is followed. This is because fatty acid oxidation in mitochondria yields significant more ATP per molecule compared to carbohydrate oxidation. Well, we don't like oxidation. And also because a high-fat diet can induce changes in mitochondria function that favor fat burning. Yeah, you prefer that. That's why I feel so much better. Why is burn animal fat? I feel amazing. Here's a more, I'm an older person, so here's a more detailed explanation. Energy yield. Mitochondria convert both fats and carbohydrates to ATP. Yeah, of course. Yeah. The energy currency of the cell. Yeah. Beta oxidation fatty acids. It just prefers animal fat, like it said there. It does. Your body just prefers it. It's a different kind of energy. Can't really describe it. It's something you would have to experiment with, but it's different. Running on animal fat than carbohydrates itself. Plant carbohydrates, sugar. With sugar, which is a drug anyways. But anyway, up there. So he lied, Blaha lied. He says it's preferred. No, it's not.
It is our bodies preferentially use carbohydrates. We try to turn stuff.
No, they don't. They can use them if you feed it to it. But it prefers animal fat.
Into carbohydrates. We don't try to turn carbohydrates into other stuff accordingly. In fact, we try to turn protein into carbohydrates. We turn a small amount of fat into carbohydrates if carbs get too low. Like, the human body is kind of geared to make carbohydrates. It doesn't like to convert them to fat. Okay? And
it prefers to make carbohydrates. It makes carbohydrates. Doesn't like to make fat. Well, okay, whatever.
We found is that, yes, de novo lipogenesis occurs, particularly with carbohydrate overfeeding, but here's what we found. It's only in small amounts. Very, very small amounts, and it's only in your visceral fat when it happens. What? So when carbon isotope studies have been done that...
Man, there's a thing called glycation. It leads to glycation. A sugar molecule binds with the proteins and destroys them. You get a lot of oxidation, so you look like Blaha, oxidated, like you're rusting from the inside out. That's what really happens.
Looked at the adipose tissue under the skin, the fat tissue under your skin, the subcutaneous, the fat you see, not the stuff around the organs inside.
I know. There's subcutaneous fat and external fat. Yeah, okay. So what?
But where you can see under the skin. When they did carbon isotope testing, even with carbohydrate overfeeding, none of it stored under the skin. Zero. Like, they found zero storage subcutaneously in any study. Any of it that's stored, it was purely around the organs and in the liver, around the liver, things like that. This is where...
Is it complex carbohydrates? Because usually it stores as an energy source. Or are you talking about simple carbs? Really, you have to define what you're talking about, Blaha. I mean, you have to be more detailed.
We stored it, that visceral region, visceral fat, which is actually the worst type of fat. All things considered, visceral fat, slightly worse for your health. Subcutaneous fat, slightly worse for your physique. So there's a trade-off. So we could make the case that excessive carb overfeeding that results in some fat gain actually does create the worst type of fat for your health, but the best type for your physique. So again, there's a trade-off, but it's not a lot. We need to be very, very clear. It's a very small amount. Again, it's not enough that it's significant unless you're doing it every day for years and years. Okay, and again, just been noted with the data. So then people hear that and they're like, okay, so then what happens if we just eat tons and tons of carbs with low fat? All right, interesting. So what they found even in carb.
What if we eat tons and tons of carbs with low fat? Well, guess what's going to happen? It's going to destroy your mitochondria. It can become dysfunctional over time.
Overfeeding studies where like people are given 1,000 calories, they eat their maintenance, like let's
You're going to become insulin resistant. You definitely don't want that.
throw another 1,000 calories of carbohydrates. So if they have a 2,500 maintenance, let's throw 2,500 and then throw 1,000 calories of extra carbs at whatever they were eating. What happens? Okay. Well, body temperature goes up, thyroid goes up, you have all these things with uncoupling, proteins occur, and we just burn it off as heat. The first day in an overfeeding, they didn't see usually day 2 you start seeing it happen. But it's all subcutaneous, right?
Okay.
It's a very small amount. I think in one of the studies they found that 1 gram, that's 4 calories worth or something, managed to store in the first day. Well, that's a lot. That's not a lot, really. So what happens? Well, you cause a large change in blood sugar, you cause a change in insulin response, and your body stops burning fat for fuel because it doesn't need to. All right, we prefer carbohydrates for fuel. You're giving your body a huge amount of carbohydrate, and you're in a surplus. There's a surplus of energy. Okay. Right? Not in a deficit, because if you're in a deficit, you'll lose body fat just fine, even on very high carbohydrates.
Right.
Hopefully body fat, hopefully not muscle. In some cases, it can be muscle. Okay. Depending on how bad you mess up what you're doing. Too big of a deficit, not enough protein, not lifting, not enough recovery. So those things happen. But, you usually gets most of it from the body fat stores if you're smart about it. Okay. But when you overeat, we don't need to burn fat. Our body's like, why should I burn fat? There's no real need. I have all this glucose. This is what I want to burn. This is my efficient, healthy primary fuel source. So it uses it. So then you start storing the fat that you consume. Now, here's where people say, well, so if I do how low a fat? Well, how much fat are you willing to gain? That's the answer. So if you go into a large surplus like that from carbohydrates and you're eating 50 grams.
Well, if you're burning carbs, then you can't burn fat because now it's burning carbs as energy. So if you want to burn fat off your body, it's kind of counterproductive, isn't it? Yeah.
Grams of fat every day, which is a relatively low amount. Most people will count that as a low-fat diet. It's not an ultra-low-fat diet. Well, here's the problem. That's over 300 calories of fat. Man, you see where we're going? 300 calories of fat, 350 calories of fat? That's 3,500 calories every 10 days. Worst case scenario. How much fat is that? Well, that's about a pound every 10 days, assuming super efficient stores. Not all fats store efficiently. Some will be oxidized at a higher rate still. But that's still fat gain. I mean, if you pulled that off and you ate 1,000 calories of extra carbs, so you have a massive surplus and your body heat goes up, need goes up, all this stuff happens, but you're still eating 50 grams of fat a day, that still could be close to a pound of fat you're gaining every 10 days. Well, what's that turn into a month?
Okay.
What's that turn into a year? Man, you get pretty fat.
I don't know what does it, Blaha.
So when people bring that up, it's like, no, if you're talking about...
Oh, was that a sumo lift, Blaha? Come on, man.
Doing that and gaining very little fat because you're going to way overeat, you have to eat something like 10 or 15 grams of fat. Then it's a very, very small amount because we won't store it super efficient. That's what we're talking about. But the thing I would point out, you're trying to play metabolic trickery in that.
I'll tell you this, you're going to look better on animal fat, eating animal products, than eating carbohydrates, plants. You are what you eat. You know that? And it will reflect what you look like, definitely, at the end of the day. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't use some complex carbohydrates if you're a lifter, but I wouldn't do it for a long period of time. See what I mean? And I wouldn't eat a lot of it either.
It's well and good, and it will work. But man, who wants to live on 10 grams of fat a day?
I mean, if you're lifting, you can have a combination of animal fat with some complex carbohydrates. But like I said, not a lot. I'd be careful. And anyways, if you're eating complex carbohydrates like potato, you can melt butter into your potato. You can mash it with butter. So you're getting some animal fat. Yeah, some more extra animal fat. So you get a combination of both. You know what I mean? The complex carb helps to expand the sarcoplasm. That's really what it's going to do. That's what it's going to do. Yeah, sure.
You know how little that is? I mean, you're basically living on white rice and potatoes with ultra lean protein at that point, and some vegetables. The only way to pull it off. People are going to be miserable. It can be done, and it has been done, though. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that.
Can be done and has been done, guys. Yes. Yes, okay.
Today, I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.
Very informative. I love these partial concentric reps or squats or whatever he's doing here in the garage. Man, he's funny. Skating uphill, trying to build muscle, lifting concentrically will never happen. He's just exercising himself to accelerate aging. See you in the next one. Ciao, friends.